Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, the Popthusiast. I'm Paul, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at the PX exclusive Daredevil that just came out, and this is a super awesome pop, and it got me thinking about all the other Daredevil Marvel pops that they've put out, and I looked up their price, and holy, they're skyrocketing. So we're going to take a look at all the Daredevil pops that exist right now, how much they are currently, and talk a little bit about why they might be skyrocketing in price. So I hope you have them already. Let's get into it. I recently ordered the PX exclusive Daredevil, which is an awesome pop. It really is a very action-oriented pose for Daredevil, and I'm really loving the action-posed pops that Funko's coming out with that are a lot different than their original stiff-posed pops, so it's really neat to see what they can do within the bounds of a Funko Pop. But before we get to that, I do want to jump into some of the other Daredevil pops that have come out and look at their values, because the value of some of these pops are skyrocketing. And I think it's probably due to the appearance of Matt Murdock from the Netflix TV series, Daredevil TV series, in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie. And so he's slated to, I think, reappear in the MCU movies moving forward, which is really exciting. So I have his pop right here. Here's the Matt Murdock pop. So this came from the first Daredevil TV series set that we're going to take a look at. But first, I want to start off just with looking at some of the original Daredevil pops that have come out. And in my opinion, I would love Funko to come out with more Daredevil pops. Daredevil is one of the most underrated Marvel characters, in my opinion. And he has some of the best comic book storylines out of any character over the last decade, 15 years. And that's hands down, that, of course, that's my opinion, but there's some of the best storylines have come out of the Daredevil series. Going back to when I was in college, Daredevil was really a comic book that brought me back into reading comic books. So let's take a look at the very first Daredevil Funko Pop that they came out with. So this is the original look. So this is a very basic kind of plain look to Daredevil, just kind of red all over. He's got his billy clubs out in front of him. They're trying to do an action pose here, but as you can see when I compare it to the PX exclusive that they just came out with, you know, it's much better now than it was then. You know, his horns are kind of goofy. I just was glad that they had a Daredevil pop, to be honest. And so this is the original pop. So these older versions have not really gone up in price too much. I think this one's worth about 13 bucks. This was a Underground Toys exclusive, I believe, back when they had the Underground Toys exclusives. So here's the original Daredevil, and then they also came out with a first appearance Daredevil, which is really cool. It's the exact same mold, just his first appearance outfit that he wore for the first, I don't know, I think 20 some issues of the 1960s Daredevil comic book. So he's got the yellow and brown outfit, still has his billy clubs out, again, same exact pose. But these for me were must adds to the collection. You also can notice the D is different. So he just had the 1D on the chest to start, and then he got the DD for Daredevil after that. So definitely must-haves, only worth about $12 to $13 a piece, I think. So these did not go up in price, at least not yet. So the next Daredevil pop that came out, I think this is from the Shadowland series. So he's got his kind of darker outfit, and this is when Daredevil led the Hand, the Ninja Clan. He was the head of the Hand for a little bit, and so he's got kind of the knives coming out of his outfit on his fists. Still's got his billy clubs there on the side, but really a neat action pose. And this was the first attempt at an action pose for Daredevil, which was really cool. It did come with a stand. The stand broke, unfortunately, so I have to glue that. But it came in a 2-pack in one of the Marvel Collector Core boxes with Bullseye, which is the only Bullseye pop that they came out with. But this is a really neat Shadowland Daredevil. This also has not gone up in value yet. But now we get to some of the pops that have skyrocketed. So the very first Netflix TV series had a 4-pop wave where they came out with a regular Matt Murdock, as you see here, which this guy, ever since he was appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home, has been highly sought after, and he's currently going for $170, which is amazing. This is crazy. So I remember getting these pops when they just first came out. They were cool, and I think some people got them and a lot of people passed on them. But so here's the Matt Murdock version. So he's just in his red glasses. He's got his billy clubs in the form of his walking cane and in his lawyer suit. So $170. And then we have his first attempt at being a vigilante, where he threw on the black mask outfit. So this is cool in the TV series here. So this one's going for $70. So in this, he's got, you know, 2 sticks and just kind of a black outfit. So not really that detailed of a Funko Pop, but nevertheless, people are really wanting this. Next up, the villain of the series is Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. So Vincent D'Onofrio played this character and still played this character in the most recent Hawkeye Disney Plus series, and I think he's going to return at some point, which he's a perfect Kingpin. He did an awesome job. But even Kingpin has gone up. This is a $50 pop now. So just really neat, buttoning his sleeves here, just very confident. So the Kingpin pop. Now they did finally come out with a comic book version of Kingpin, which looks better than this one in my opinion. This one looks like the TV series version, which is good. But they definitely need to have a comic book version one, which we also have. And then actually the Daredevil in the Netflix series suit with the billy clubs out. So you can see this is a much better mold and detailed pop than the first attempt at Daredevil. But again, this was for the TV series. So this is a $75 pop. So together, this wave is close to $400 in value now, which is ridiculous. I think I picked these up for $20 total when they first came out. And then even the second series of Daredevil Pops that came out for the season 2, there's a kind of a similar suited Daredevil, but his billy club is a little bit different. He's kind of has them connected and pulling them apart a little bit. So this Daredevil is going for $80. You can see there's a little bit of a difference between the first series Daredevil and the second. It's a little bit of a thicker pop, and of course the billy clubs are a little bit different. And then the supporting characters have not gone up in value, which makes sense because they're not in the MCU at least yet. But the Elektra character, and then of course Punisher, which are really cool pops in and of themselves, but they're both around $10 to $15 a piece. So they have not got a value bump like the other Daredevil pops have. And then finally, just because it's so cool, I did want to show you the Venomized Daredevil. So this is another Daredevil pop that came out from the Venomized line. So here's Daredevil kind of with a Venom symbiote. So really neat pop, really neat detail, super creepy. But this was a must-have for me as a Daredevil fan, and just to complete the Venomized line as well. But this one doesn't really have much value either. It's about $10 to $14. And then finally, the original reason why I was going to shoot this video before I looked up the prices of all these Daredevil pops was the current PX exclusive Daredevil. Doesn't look like he's going to stand very well. But he is in a really awesome action pose. Billy clubs are kind of waving around. Which is more of a kind of a more recent, maybe from the kind of like the 2000s comic books, where the billy club's kind of all over the place. That's part of the art and everything, which is kind of cool. Kind of like Spider-Man's webbing. The artists kind of play around with that a little bit. So this is a really awesome pop. Action pose, kind of ready to kind of leap off a building or something. And the horns are actually done a lot better than they were initially. So this is kind of how far Funko has come from the initial version of Daredevil to the current version of Daredevil. So these look like little nubs or something on his head, whereas these actually look like the Daredevil horns. So again, in summary, I really think that that Funko should come out with more Daredevil pops. There's a ton of other things they can do, some other suits that he's worn, and just other cool poses, kind of like maybe over a balcony or jumping off a balcony. Or there's some pretty iconic art and covers that Daredevil comics have had over the years. So a lot of cool stuff they could do. But anyway, just also a heads up on these Daredevil values. You may have already known this, or maybe you already have these pops, hopefully. But if you're trying to get them now, it's going to cost you a little bit. Again, this initial set, close to $400 right now. I'm sure if they were, mint in box, if you found them, someone might be even asking more than that. And then of course this other Daredevil, $80. So will the values stay that high? My guess is probably not. They'll probably start to tick down a little bit, and then once you see Matt Murdock back in the MCU, maybe Daredevil actually appears, they might go back up again, and then over time might kind of settle. But they definitely will, whenever this happens to a pop where the value was kind of normal and then something happens like an announcement in the MCU or something and the pop spikes, it's never going to go back down to the original value it was. It's always going to be higher than that, but it in most cases will kind of settle down a little bit, but still higher than before. We saw this happen with Dr. Octopus recently, and then also with the most recent Black Widow and Yelena, the White Widow Pops from the Black Widow movie that came out recently. So hope you enjoyed this Daredevil video. Let me know in the comments below, do you have some of these Pops? Are you looking for some of these Daredevil Pops? Were you able to snag a PX exclusive? I highly recommend it if you're a Marvel or Daredevil fan. Really awesome addition to the collection. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, The Popthusiast, for more Funko Pop and pop culture related content. And until the next time, take care and happy hunting.